morning, team. It's Kevin Van Eck here for another episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin. Thank you so much for joining me. It is Tuesday, September 6th, the day after Labor Day. Hopefully you spent your Labor Day doing something really great, whether it's with family or friends. Glad to have you back with me this morning. Amy will be here again next week, but for today, you've got me for coffee. So I want to tell a little story. In 1996, I enlisted in the United States Army. I was 17. I grew up in the southwest suburbs of Chicago. It was a shocking experience. One of the things that I did experience in the Army was that the way that they train is so that you never go through an experience you haven't experienced in the past. Meaning they try to train for every situation and put you through that situation with the goal of understanding how you will react when put in that actual live situation. So I'm 17. I'm participating in live fire exercises. I was tear gassed, grenades, mortars going off all around you, field training exercises around the country, and all with the goal of knowing how you would react in a stressful situation. And it's similar with sports. When you're on a sports team or playing sports, even individual sports, you practice in different situations, you practice in different environments against different opponents, all with the goal of understanding how you will play in that actual situation. It's about being prepared. So you're wondering, how does this relate to real estate? Well, very closely. And it's one of our favorite activities out there. I know you all love it. It's role playing. Now, why is role playing important? Well, it's the same reason the military trains. It's the same reason you practice in sports. It's really important to understand how you'll react. So let's talk about role playing, because it is a very important part of upping our game when it comes to understanding how we'll react to both client communications, to colleague communications, and the situations we find ourselves in every day in real estate. Now, you might shy away from role playing. Let's not. Some of us feel like we're really great at thinking on our feet. Some of us not so much, but all of us have the opportunity to improve. So I want to challenge you over the next 4 or 5 months as we close out 2022, start practicing, start role playing. And I've got 3 ways that, or 3 tips, I guess, on how you can role play effectively and answer some questions. Number 1, who do you role play with? Number 2, we're going to talk about what do you role play? What are the top situations that you can practice? And then number 3, how do you continue to improve once you think you've got it down? So number 1, who do you role play with? Well, the easy answer is colleagues, role playing with other agents. But I want to challenge you, take it a step further. Remember, when we're talking with potential sellers and buyers, that we're talking with consumers. These are people that are not as familiar with real estate as us. And ultimately, it's really important that we get the consumer's point of view. So I would highly suggest that you practice and role play with a close friend or with a family member. Role play with somebody who has a consumer's perspective and not the inside view of real estate. You're going to get much better feedback. And when you role play, ask them how it sounds. Solicit candid feedback from them, because that's how you're going to learn to hone what you say and what you do to be most effective. Number 2, what do you role play? So what are the scenarios or top situations you find yourself in all the time? And you know the answer to this, but I'm going to suggest 3 that are pretty universal. The first is the very first phone call you get from a referral. So when someone calls you for the first time, what do you say on the phone that differentiates you? What do you say that shows them that this isn't your first time, that you are not just a random fly-by-night agent that lives out of your car? What do you say that from the very first conversation elicits confidence, that shows them the process, that you've done this before, you're going to guide them? So what is that first conversation like? The second scenario you can role play, also wildly important, is your value proposition. It's what a seller asks in their mind or verbally when they say, why should I work with you? Why should I sign with you? Why should I list my property with you? This is an important role play that you need to practice to make sure that your value proposition, whatever you say that comes out of your mouth that you say next, is as confident, as compelling, as repeatable as possible. And when I say repeatable, it's because those people are going to repeat your value proposition to their friends and family when they ask how it's going and how did you find your agent. So role playing your value proposition is really important. Making sure you can convey very concisely why they should hire you. And the third situation that you really need to practice when it comes to role playing is the commission discussion. And it may happen more frequently in your market than others. I don't know, but we need to practice because there's downward pressure on commissions everywhere. Well, you know your value, you know what you're worth. So practicing against the objections that sellers may have, and even the question, are you willing to reduce your commission? How do you respond to that? Is it with confidence or is it with stammering? Do you know how to reconvey your value proposition a second time after you've already done it to show them why your fee is your fee? Practicing these 3 role plays is really important because we find ourselves in these situations more frequently than probably any other, and they directly impact our business, not only immediately whether we get the listing or we work with the buyer, but also future referrals. And here's a bonus tip. Ryan Storant said this in his first book, and I fully believe in it. We hosted a program here at Properties Christie's International Real Estate. It's improv. While it's not real estate specific, it does help you think on your feet. It does help you remain cool and calm under pressure when you're asked a question you didn't anticipate. So I highly suggest locally in your area finding an improv class and taking it because it will also help you outside of real estate in your personal life as well. So it's not life or death, like I said. We're not playing on a court, but what we are doing is making sure that we are prepared for any situation we have. I highly suggest, and the challenge is over the next 4 or 5 months, that you practice these 3 scenarios, get it down, and make sure that you are consistently improving by reviewing all of the situations that maybe didn't go as well as they should have. Continue role-playing these 3 situations, add to it by reviewing past transactions, situations as they happen, how you might have handled it differently, and you'll find that you become a much better agent, that you generate more business, and you generate more referrals simply because you can respond to objections, because you know how you are going to respond to questions, and you're already anticipating them. Thank you so much for joining me today. Enjoy your coffee, smoothie, lemon water, all of the things that Amy says, and we'll see you here next week with both Amy and I.